This is video number 13. It's going to be a short one because I only have one quick thing to say and then I'll go back to my usual format. No makeup, no lighting, no staging. I just had to get this out because I couldn't believe it. I just heard this today. I went to my local, like I always say, go to your local bank in person, let your feet do the walking. So I did. I had a question I wanted to ask them. It wasn't anything big, but I was out looking for some information. So I went in there and I asked her my question. Um, and we started talking. I said, I have a podcast, and I'm trying to warn widows and other people who are sort of semi-vulnerable about scams that are around. And she said to me right before I came in, and she pointed to the other chair, she said, this man was sitting right in that chair. He came in, he got a text message that looked like it was from the bank, from that bank. And it wasn't from them, but they made it look like it was from them. So he bought it. Looked legit. It wasn't. So they contacted him and said, oh, there's fraud on your debit. See, debit cards, not a credit card, a debit card. Not good. And there's this fraudulent $799 charge on your debit card, and we're here to help you fix it. So he released information somehow. I don't remember all the details, but he did do what they're asking him to do because he thought it was the actual bank. It was not. It was scammers. So they got in on his cell phone with a text message, and it looks like it came from the bank. When he realized what had happened, he went to the actual bank and told them. He sat there. He was there today, right before I was in there. He sat there and he told them what happened. And he lost about a little bit under $3,000. However, this is a regional bank who's much more customer friendly than Bank of America. My friend, Mr. Davenport, lost $8,000 with Bank of America. They never replaced his money, even though they know he was scammed. They didn't replace it. This is a smaller regional bank, Ocean First, actually, and this is a good bank, as it turns out. It's a much better bank, and they actually replaced the money. If you get frauded, if you get scammed, then it's not your fault. They will replace the money like immediately. This $8,000 thing that happened to Mr. Davenport happened over a year ago, almost 2 years ago now, and they don't bother because, hey, they're Bank of America. They can do what they want, right? Now, so going back to this man who was sitting in the chair next to me before I had come in, that story is not terribly exceptional except for one thing. The guy who was scammed is a police detective. Dear God in heaven. Dear God in heaven, a police detective. So now I don't feel so terrible. I counted up. By the way, I had more like 15 years of higher education. I'm counting up in that other video. I'm counting up Mr. Davenport and my husband and all the people who have all this advanced education to show you the picture how even very well educated people can get taken. And now this guy, it's his job to catch criminals and to be aware of scams. This is a police officer, a detective, and they got him. I don't think he was stupid. I don't think any of us were stupid. Here's what I do think. There are certain institutions that we automatically have trust in. Microsoft would be one. Apple is another. Banks, doctors. We all already have usually a favorable attitude towards them, trusting attitude, because it's the bank. Of course you trust the bank. It's where you put your money. The problem is when it's not the bank, when they're pretending it's the bank and it wasn't the bank. So if anybody's been scammed, take heart. Don't beat yourself up. Don't think you're stupid. Look at all the people that have been getting scammed. College professors, priests, clergymen, former CEOs, writers, police officers, a detective. So that's the short video for today because I just had to get this one out there. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll go back to my regular lighting and staging, and I didn't bother even putting on makeup or combing my hair. I just wanted to get the story out. So have a pleasant evening and be careful out there. It's a jungle out there. Okay, guys, have a pleasant evening. Peace out. Oh yeah, one thing that I forgot to mention, which is really important. She agreed with me when I said the way to get around this is don't call us, we'll call you. You call them. Don't accept calls coming in because you don't know if they're real or not. Calls coming in, emails coming in, anything that tries to come into you communication wise, phone calls, emails, text messages, knocking on the door. All of those things have one thing in common. It's the outside world trying to come to you. So she said I was telling people the right thing, by saying, first verify the number is accurate and legitimate and it's the right number. And if you think anything is wrong, anything at all, you suspect something, a funny accent or any kind of feeling you get, hang up the phone and go down in person, flesh and blood, in person, and go down in person and sort it out, whatever it is. It's worth the time and the trouble. So she did say, I'm telling people the right things by encouraging them not to accept incoming, like MASH, incoming. Don't accept the incoming. You go to them. If you have a question, you seek them out. And I think the same principle should apply to shopping. If you need something, why do I need emails and catalogs and advertisements? If I need a pair of shoes, I'll go seek out shoes. You don't have to come bring the shoes to me and try to tempt me into buying things I don't need, right? So if you need something, whatever it is, if it's hand lotion, if it's a water bottle or whatever it is, you seek them out. Don't let them seek you out. And as far as banking and credit cards, and the other thing was it was a debit card. It was an ATM card, but also it acted as a debit card. And we talked about that, how I don't like debit cards and so on. So she encouraged us to keep our online banking so we can continue to monitor our accounts. She also encouraged us to get one of those password manager programs where all the time your passwords are changing. It's a safeguard. And she said it's the right thing to tell people, to tell them not to accept incoming texts, phone calls, emails. No. If you have a question, you go to them and just make sure, unless you're going to go down in person, which I think is the preferable thing, going down in person. Don't take text messages and emails and phone calls. That's how they get in. That's how they attack. Those are the vulnerable spots where they breach your tranquility. They breach your world. So this guy, he got his 2,000. It was 2,000 something. It was just under 3,000, but still, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And the guy is a cop, and he deserves a lot more respect than that. But at least the bank was good, and they made good on the money. So good for Ocean First. Might as well do a shout out for the organizations and entities that are doing right by customers. Why not? I will continue to do so. Shame on Bank of America for not replacing Mr. Davenport's $8,000, and yay for Ocean First for replacing the detective's 2,000 something. And that's it. I forgot to mention that other stuff. So peace out. I swear I must be related to Columbo because I always say that. One more thing. Oh yeah, one more thing. The other thing was, this all happened on a Saturday afternoon, so the bank, in-person bank, was closed. And this came in on a text message, so he could not go down in person. Now, this is a baby boomer difference between boomers and millennials and all these younger generations, whatever they're called. Boomers and their parents, actually, are a little more ready to wait. Okay, it was a Saturday afternoon. Wait till Monday morning. The world doesn't stop just because, you have to wait a day and a half. Had he waited and not responded to the freaking text message, it worked out okay. But what did it do? It caused him stress, caused him anxiety, cost him money, time, almost cost him money. But it's stressful and you feel violated. So that was the other piece of information, that this happened on a Saturday, afternoon. The bank was closed. I said, he should have come down in person. And she said, well, the bank was closed. I said, so you wait till Monday. I was talking with my periodontist, one of my dentists, and he was talking about how he likes these pay for radio systems, which I don't really care for. I said, the radio and the TV used to be free. The ads paid for it. I said, what's wrong with having a free radio? And then he said, I like him. He's a good guy, but he's young compared to me. And he said, well, what if you're driving through Alabama and you lose your station that you really like and all you're stuck with is country music? And I said, then you deal with it and you listen to country music or silence. You could now they have Audible and they have books on, what they used to call books on tape. So you can switch to Audible. So you do have options. But I'm not going to pay for radio. You got to be kidding me. Go see Hope and Larry. They'll get you they'll whip you into shape. Under the Median. I love that station, that channel rather. So that was the other piece of information. This was a Saturday. So the moral of the story is don't respond to text. Oh, and by the way, the banker did say that sometimes they do call customers and they do sometimes send text messages. But I said, well, that's not really good. If you can't tell who's fraudulent and who's real, it's better not to, in my personal opinion, I think you're safe not to respond to anything. Nothing. Don't respond to text, nobody's text message, nobody's email, nobody's phone call. You need to do business. You either call on a number you know is legit, you know the number is correct. Even if you have somebody else from a different phone call the same number to make sure the number is correct. Because as I said a couple of years back, they were hijacking legitimate phone numbers from my healthcare provider, and they were making it look like it was their number and it wasn't. We were dialing the same number and it was going to a different place. So I don't even trust the damn phone anymore. I'm serious. I do not trust the damn phone. So if you really have a question, you just wait till business hours. Just not going to kill you. What's going to kill you is if you lose a whole ton of money. Well, not kill you, but it'll kill your spirit and your mood. Just wait until you can go down in person. And that will definitely destroy all the scammers, because you hear the pierogi calls, the last thing they want is for people to go down in person and talk to somebody. They don't want you to talk to somebody. I would have lost $500 to that fake electric company scam. I would have lost $500, which to some people is no big deal. To us, it was a big deal. It still is a big deal. If I had done gone through with it, if that manager, an in-person person, a live person, protoplasm person, not a phone call, not a text message or an email, a person, flesh and blood, right? The Walgreens manager who said these gift cards are very sketchy, and you have to look on the back that they're used for scams a whole lot. They even say it on the back of the card, be very careful when you buy gift cards. You know who you're buying it for. And I was ready to do it. I was in the store. And because a flesh and blood person told me what was going on, I was saved from losing $500. So that's why they'll tell you on these pierogi calls, don't talk to anybody. You don't need to. This is between us. This is very secret. Yeah, BS. Go in person and talk to bankers, store clerks, or whatever the situation is. Whatever the situation is, go in person. Don't rely on the phone and the email and the text messages, because you don't know who you're talking to. You do not know who you're speaking with. You really don't, because they can make it look like, this is a detective. This is his job to check up on things like this. And he was conned because everybody trusts the bank, and they made it look like it was really the bank's text message, and it wasn't the bank. So don't trust anybody. And when the communication is coming in your direction, question it and shut it down. If it's a phone call, hang up. If it's the computer, close down the whole computer. Just shut it down. Do a shutdown and take the computer to a live and in person, flesh and blood computer fix it place, like the real Geek Squad in person. Geek Squad scams were around for a long time. I guess they're still happening. They pretend it's the Geek Squad and you bought an $800 computer, which you never bought. And they want you to click on the links and start talking to them. That's the last thing you want to do. If you're going to talk to somebody, go in person to the bank, to the store, and talk to a real live flesh and blood human being. I swear, some days I think I want to go back to landlines, paper letters, and the typewriter. I get so fed up with this stuff. It's all happening through technology. All this kind of stuff, it's all technology. So that was my third piece. Sorry about that. I keep forgetting to mention things. I'm really done now. Good night, sleep tight, and pleasant dreams to you. Good night. See you soon.